Heyo everybody, Haku here with HaQ&A number 78. Yeah, we're at 78 now. So this is the time of week now on Thursday where I just get to talk to you all for a bit and go into different sections for different series and then discuss topics from the comments and questions and stuff like that. But either way, so here in the general section, not going to talk for 30 minutes like last week when there were some big important updatey things going on. This is going to be a bit lighter than that. But there are a few things since we're going into a new anime season to talk about. Like one thing is next week I'm taking the Thursday off from the HaQ&A, so 79 will be the Thursday after that. Because like I said, this is going to be every Thursday except when I have a special video to put out, and next Thursday I've got a special video to do. I'm going to do the video where I talk about what I plan to watch and what I plan to review for next season. So that's why I'm giving you this kind of open field before then, and even then, if you comment on that video and tell me, hey, you should really watch this, or hey, you should review this, I'm definitely going to take that into consideration, and I usually listen to people when they say things like that. Maybe not the review thing if I already have like too much on my plate, maybe, but if I don't and I'm like, yeah, I can review that, I can throw it in there. But usually when somebody tells me to watch something, I typically do. I at least give it a try. So there's going to be that, but I'm giving you this kind of week in advance here. If there's anything you want to sway my mind on, anything you want me to watch, or anything you want me to review, go ahead and tell me ahead of time so I can look into it and maybe change my plans for next week. Because I went yesterday because I really wanted to. I was just really in the mood to, and I watched all the PVs that are out so far for the anime coming next season, and next season looks really, really good. It's like the quality in general of animation is way better than it has been the past two seasons. It's probably better looking than Winter this year was, and it's up there with some of 2017 seasons. This year just hasn't really been as great for anime as 2017 was. I don't know. Like, partially, I haven't been watching as much the past two seasons because, like I said, I was busy and I had a lot of personal things going on. But even with what I have been watching or did watch, it's just, I don't know. Especially spring, I guess. Spring, there were very, very few things I was interested in. This season, there are a few that I've stuck with and got through, and winter, there were a lot that I ended up watching. But they just generally weren't as strong as the 2017 shows, but this looks like it could be up there stronger. Like, fall is going to be a really good season. And my plan going into it was I wanted to watch around 7 to 10 shows weekly because I wanted to kind of lower that number so that I would have time to go back and watch some of the shows from the past two seasons that I just didn't have time to get into. So I wanted to keep it to that, but I ended up with 20, I think, so far. So I doubled it. I ended up with 20 so far that I want to at least try to watch week to week. And that doesn't mean I'll stick with them. I could end up dropping them because I'm like, I'm not that into it. I could end up doing like I've done before, where I'm like, okay, maybe I don't feel like watching this week to week, but I'll wait until it ends and then marathon it, or I'll wait until the week before the finale and marathon it and watch the finale when it comes out, as I've done before. Or what I don't want to do is to get ones where I'm like, I want to watch it weekly, but I don't have time. I don't want to be like that. I want to have time to watch what I watch weekly so I can discuss it with all of you, even if it isn't something we review. So I can discuss it here in the HaQ&A, discuss it with you on Twitter or Discord, things like that. Other places where, or in the comments, places wherever I talk with all of you. And in addition to that, since Boku no Hero Academia is ending, and I usually spend a lot more time on those reviews than I do for some other anime reviews, I typically watch the episode a few times for those on Saturdays. So since those are gone, I want to replace that. I want to do 3 anime reviews, because I used to do a few shows a season, and I want to get back to that. Right now I like what the channel's doing. We got Tower of God representing webtoons, we got light novels with MGRP, we got 2 manga read-throughs going on in addition to all the manga I cover weekly or monthly. And sorry, I should probably slow down. I feel like I'm just speaking way too quickly here, going through this too fast and confusing myself. But I kind of feel like whenever we catch up to some, I want to add some more webtoons or webcomics, because a lot of you want me to read a bunch of different webcomics. So I want to add some of those. I want to add more light novels as things happen for those 2 read-through slots as we catch up to the other 2. And I think we're over halfway caught up to Beastars. And for The Promised Neverland, we are not quite halfway yet. But we're going to get there eventually. So Beastars will be the next thing to be replaced with something else read-through-wise. But I want to bring back the balance of anime there too. So I want to do 3 shows a season. And I'm not sure which 3 I'm going to do yet. I know for certain that I'm going to be doing Index 3. Because the Tawaru series, Index, Railgun, that's one of the series that really got me into anime to begin with. So I'm insanely excited for Index 3, because didn't Index 2 come out? It came out way back in like 2011, didn't it? So it's been, or no. Index 1 was in 2007, Railgun 1 2009, Index 2 2011, yeah, and then Railgun S was 2013. And we haven't had anything since then, except for I don't remember when the Endymion movie was. But yes, it's been 7 years since the last Railgun, or since the last Index installment. So I'm insanely excited for that. Going to be reviewing that weekly. And if you have any suggestions for the other 2, just go ahead and let me know. I know there are a few shows that look really promising, because like I said, the season looks really, really good. And for the most part, I really like watching comedies, and I feel like comedies are a lot more stable typically, where I'll say watch 10 comedies in a season and 9 of them will be really good and I'll enjoy them. Hell, maybe all 10 of them will be. And it's pretty rare that just one of them I'm like, that's not that good. But it's a lot more hit and miss with, like, I love action adventures, but with things like dramas and action adventures, it is way more hit and miss, where you'll get like 10 that, like, okay, they look good, I'll give them a try, and then a good chunk of them will not be all that good. So it's a bit more hit and miss, but there are a lot of non-comedy shows that look really good. There's this one show about bicyclists or something that I want to watch, and another about this girl who goes back in time to hang out with her 17-year-old grandmother or something. That both of those look like they're going to be the real big feelsy. If they were movies, I would call them Oscar bait kind of productions, where they're just not the I don't know, it's kind of different for anime. I'd put them in sort of the category where this winter, Violet Evergarden, even though Violet Evergarden I didn't like it that much, but Violet Evergarden and Soriyori Matoi Bajo are A Place Further in the Universe, where those two were, those kinds of shows, those big story-driven drama type shows. Those two look like they could be anime of the season. They both look like they'll be really good. I want to watch both of those. Never really reviewed a show like that before, but it could be cool. People like discussions on those. There's this one vampire cute comedy, and that's right up my alley. You know that I really like Monster Girl comedies and just comedies in general, where it's just about the fun of things, and sometimes they even tell really good stories, like what happened with Maid Dragon. But I like too when you throw in the absurdity of a fantasy element to base more of the jokes off of. They're usually really good, and I usually really enjoy them. And it's kind of fun reviewing those sometimes, because there's not much to say about a comedy other than that was cute and it was funny and I liked it. And then all of you chime in with, that was cute, that was funny, I liked it. And we just talk about how much we enjoy things, and I think that positivity is good. Because, like, again, to just talk to you more about the channel and thoughts on it and stuff, that's kind of why I stopped, what was it? Mahotsukai no Yome is the Ancient Magus' Bride, is the only series that I have ever started reviewing and then just dropped. I dropped it after the first cour, because it was okay, but I wasn't liking it that much, and I don't want to be negative about any reviews. I want to just be positive, cover things, let us all talk about the things we like without really dragging anything, because there are people who are going to like that and think it's great, and I don't want to just drag something that someone's trying to enjoy, you know? So I think it's better that we can all just be positive and all talk about the things we like here, whether they are light novels, anime, manga, whatever else we're covering here, webcomics. So in addition to those kinds of shows, there are a lot of the typical, and there are usually a lot every season, but the isekai fantasy type shows, there are a lot coming this season that look really good. I was surprised at how many of them look really good. The slime one, that I wasn't that into the description at first, then I saw the PV and I was like, okay, this does look really good, even though I've heard good things about it. I've heard good things about Goblin Slayer, whatever the original content of it is, whether it's a manga or a light novel. I've heard a lot about it, and the anime adaptation for that looks good. Was that the one that the PV had the giant tits in it? I don't remember. And then there was Radiant. Radiant, I was like, this looks like a cheesy little isekai. I'm expecting it to be like sort of half-assed quality. Then I watched the PV and holy damn, the animation quality and the art style, everything for Radiant looked really, really good. So that could be another one that I could review just as a show that I don't know anything about. That could be a big surprise. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about here? No, just generally a lot of good looking stuff for next season, and I'd like to review 2 or 3 shows. And one of them will pretty much certainly be Index 3. Anything else that I wanted to talk about here? Oh yeah, about getting back into One Piece too. And I'm sure there's other things I forgot to say here, but I'll comment down there if there's anything I realize I forgot to say that I wanted to. When it comes to reviewing the One Piece anime again, I really want to do it. I'm hoping to get back to doing it this Sunday, but compared to all the other videos I'm doing, it is kind of on the back burner a little bit. It's like not a huge priority compared to some other videos that I want to get done. Like if I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to get this read-through done unless I record Sunday and I don't have time to do One Piece, then I'm going to do the read-through because to me, I want to do the One Piece anime for those of you that enjoyed watching those videos and who want those videos back. But at the same time, they aren't just the most watched videos or anything like that. And it's not just about the views of it all, of course. But the thing is, if there's a series that like 10, 20 people are really enjoying and one that like 100 people are really enjoying, I don't want to take away from the 100 people that are enjoying the one over the smaller series. So I want to do both, but the smaller series might have to take a back burner here and there. That, and more importantly than that, is even if it had a small amount of views, if I was like really, really enjoying it every single time, then I would be completely ecstatic to keep doing it and prioritize it. But with the One Piece anime reviews, they're just kind of like, a lot of the time for me. Let me get a sip of water, hold on. I am really, really talking a lot just for the intro, and I wasn't expecting to. But there are some other things I wanted to say. Just real quick, I have sort of comments down in the notes for other things I wanted to say. That was just off the top of my head. If you have anything you want me to watch next season or review next season, you can go ahead and let me know, but I will be having that review or that video next Thursday. And you can comment there next Thursday on that video if you want to. Gives you time to look over PVs and see what you're excited for too, but I'm saying go watch the PVs, find some shows that you maybe didn't think you would watch, and just watch some things because things look really good for next season. So if I forgot anything that I wanted to say, I'll comment it down. And I have 2 points from last week. I don't want to get super duper into it, but I have 2 points from last week that I commented last week that I forgot then, so I'll bring them up here. And there were more clarification type things. And the first one was, I was talking in February about monetization being taken away and that kind of hitting me and making things harder through a lot of the year. And I think a big part of it too, where like I said, it wasn't really about the money or else I wouldn't have been making videos like 1 or 2 a day every single day since February. But it wasn't just monetization being taken away. It was also that when that happened and channels under 1,000 subscribers had their monetization taken away, I started seeing like my subs per month or even per day and my views per month or even per day dropped drastically, like instantly in February. As soon as that rule happened, a video that was normally getting like 200 views. Like my anime reviews would be getting like 200 views. Everything dropped instantly to like 20 to 40. So it dropped to like a tenth or a fifth to what it was before. So it was really demoralizing, not because I cared about the money so much, but because I felt like before I was making content and people who wanted to see it were getting to watch it as much as they could for a channel of my size. But it kind of demoralized me because it felt like the content was just being stuffed down and hidden away from people who might want to watch it. And it was making it harder for the channel to grow and harder for people to watch and enjoy my videos. So that hit me a lot harder than the actual money part of it did. And the second thing I said that was a point there was when I do make the Patreon, is there anything any of you can think of that would be suggestions, things you'd like to see as rewards, any ideas like that you have, or for the channel in general, because I'm always happy to hear all of you out and see what your suggestions are for me. And I believe it was Lugia, who said one thing that would be good would be maybe a Discord rank. I think I can do that. Discord rank in the Discord for people who become patrons. And I can totally do that if that's a thing on Discord, and I think it is. So I can do that. So I'm just like fumbling my way through Discord, though. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just a place for all of us to talk. But yeah, I can totally give you ranks up there too. So anything else? Oh yeah, and the reason I haven't done the Patreon yet, it is coming as soon as possible. But again, that's another thing like what I said about the One Piece reviews, where videos and content to me and making sure you guys get content and get it on time is more important to me than me making money, even if me making money, even if it's just a couple bucks off Patreon, helps the channel grow and helps me continue making videos. The making videos part is still a lot more important than that. So I will be doing the Patreon as soon as I have time, but if time is a question, I'm going to put making content in front of making the Patreon. But of course, I'll keep the Patreon updated and like really try to do the best I can with that once it's made. It's just actually making it, I'm going to wait until I have like real time to do it. So hopefully maybe sometime this weekend or sometime this week. I should have time to make it, but that's why I didn't make it this past week. And then I have one comment that I put in the general section because it didn't really fit much in any other specific section, was Nikos saying, okay, who do you guys think is the best anime centaur? Centauria Hiatus, Himeno Kimihara, Speed, who is the new centaur girl from One Piece, or Brownbeard? Why did I bother? Obviously it's Brownbeard. But yeah, I would say in addition to those, I would throw in respect for that, I don't remember her name or anything, but the one white centaur that was part of the archery club or whatever in Centaur no Naomi, where Himeno is from, I believe that was her name. So I think that's who you're referring to. But yeah, the one white centaur from there, she was really cute. And the centaur lollies, of course, from that same show. And also, I'd throw in, even though it's not really an anime, from the MonMusu game, the one centaur with the abs, whew, I think her name was Shaya, whew, like, throw in her there, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, that's it for the general section. And I'll give you a quick preview of what's going to be in this video. Of course, if you looked at the timestamps, you can probably already see it. But I hope some of you stick through the general things at the beginning. But first I'm going to do Boku no Hero Academia, and then I'll do MonMusu, then The Promised Neverland, then Magical Girl Raising Project, then Tower of God. I was able to get more variety for this one. I'm really, really happy about that. And in the future, I hope I can keep increasing the variety. For those of you that are here for the Tower of God section, it's still friggin' huge. It's still probably like, I have as much notes on that as every other section combined, probably. So it's still going to be a long Tower of God section, but I also want to spend some time on some other series too here. Definitely, for sure, because that's kind of the point. But yeah, just trying to get some more variety in here. But that's it for the general section. I'm going to talk about Boku no Hero Academia next. Alright, I've just got one comment here for Boku no Hero Academia that is brain fluid, saying, from the wiki, Gevodon may be a reference to the Beast of Gevodon, which is, I'm probably pronouncing that way wrong because I know jack shit about France, or French. the Beast of Gévaudan, which was supposedly a man-eating gray wolf dog or wolf dog that terrorized the French province of Gévaudan. And that's really cool. I've never heard of that before, so it's kind of interesting that Horikoshi had, in order to make that the character's hero name, Shishida's. But yeah, and just some general thoughts on Boku no Hero Academia 2. I really love where the anime is right now. I'm excited for these last 2 episodes, and holy damn that fight. My favorite fight from the manga, Izuku and Katsuki, just happened, and it was so good. I'm really, really happy with how things went, but I said all that in the review, so I won't get too deep into it. And where the manga is right now, I love that we're getting some development for the Class B characters, and I hope we actually get to see these fights in full so that we can have that development for the Class B characters, in addition to obviously bringing Shinso into the mix here. And yeah, I guess that's it for the quick little Boku no Hero Academia section. Next up, we got MonMusu for a bit, and Nikos said, I wonder if while everything's going on with Mia and her mother and the rest of the 3 Lamia tribes, we get a subplot about Lala's head traveling around, or traveling the world and trying to find the others. I would love to see that. I would love to see a subplot about Lala's head, because that was like one of my favorite things from the most recent chapter. Sadly though, Okiyato's taking another hiatus, but I'm happy to be patient for it, and I'm happy for him to take a hiatus as long as he's happy and healthy. I want to be reading something written by an author who's like really feeling it and really in a passionate mode, and really cares about the chapter that they're putting out. So if he has to just like fight through it, or if he's not in the right mental or physical space, I say take all the time you need, because I want to read him at his best, you know? So take all the time he needs. And I think Nikos just replied to that right before I started recording also, to say that the translations for 12 Beast should be out soon. So if that's true, we can have some 12 Beast videos soon. So that'll be really good if we can do that. But yeah, I suppose that's it for MonMusu. So it's kind of sad that we just started this arc and it's a bit of a hiatus, but I don't mind. I don't think it's going to be that long, and like I said, I'm happy with Okiyato getting a break. And maybe on hiatus, he'll get the feeling and want to work on something else. That'll be cool. So yeah, that's it for the MonMusu section this time around. Now we've got our Promised Neverland section. So, is this the first time we've done a section for the Promised Neverland? Don't know. But either way, I first put my own comment in my own notes because I wanted to talk about some of my favorite characters and see who some of your favorite characters are. And of course, this was after the last read-through video, not after the most recent one that I just posted. So my thoughts in the past 4 chapters may have shifted around a little bit, but let's see what I put characters at. When I made the comment, I put Toma and or Lonnie in 10. I think I kind of like Toma more than Lonnie. I mean, they're kind of a package deal, but now we've seen Toma a bit more. 9th, I put Norman. I really like Norman. He's a good character, and that's the thing. I really like all these characters, so him being down in 9th isn't a bad thing. Sadly, I guess 11th would, or 12th, since Toma and or Lonnie takes up 10th. 11th or 12th would be Jemima, now that we've seen her a little bit. She's cute too. Our cute little characters, please survive, please just be happy. So yeah, Norman in 9th, he's a cool character. I don't know. I didn't really like the dark, I guess I don't really like the dark angsty characters as much here. The edgelord characters as much here, some of the more happy positive ones looking at my list. I don't know, that's maybe not the best thing to say looking at my list, but either way, I put Ray in 8th because I like him more than Norman, but Ray is still, he's done some bad things and made some choices I don't totally agree with, but he's a good character and I enjoy him. 7th, I put Anna, and I don't know, Anna could quickly rise up the ranks because she's adorable. She was so nice to Ray about her hair getting cut off, and Anna is just a sweet pumpkin, and I want her to be okay. 6th is Don. I didn't really like Don as much when we were first introduced to him, but he's really, really grown on me. Like, he feels like so much more of a responsible character now. And yeah, that's generally what I think about him. He's responsible, he takes care of the kids, he keeps them all happy and keeps morale up. So I really like Dawn as a character. Fifth, I'd put Isabella. She's a really, really intriguing villain. She had just such a good past and is still really mysterious. And in addition to that, she was a really good antagonist for the first little arc we had. So yeah, Isabella's just a great character. Fourth is Gilda. Gilda is the most adorable, cute thing ever. I freaking love Gilda. So please don't hurt my girl Gilda. Third, I put Crone, because Crone, again, was a really interesting antagonist, but I loved the depth of her character, and she was just really entertaining to read as well. And in addition to that, she had this pen that she was able to pass along, which has me wondering why. If she was trying to become a mama, why did she have this pen? Why did she have this connection to William Minerva? So I'm very interested in learning more about Crone and maybe learning why on earth she had that pen to begin with. Second, I said, again, this is something that might change. Emma might be number one now, or Gilda could be going up to number one. But Emma could be number one. Emma's just great. She's the main character, and she is such a good, lovable main character. She's had her little dark moments, but all through it, she's never given up hope of saving everyone, and it's not this blind hope without any thought behind it. Emma's a really smart character, too. So Emma's just a really cool female jump protagonist. So I really like Emma as a main character. And number one at the moment, I put Phil, and Phil's still kind of up there with me. Phil stayed behind for our sins. Phil is so great. He is so adorable. And he is the one that made me feel the most. When I thought he was going to die there, my heart dropped. So, your boy Phil, please keep him safe. Make sure you go back for him. And then I have one comment to discuss. Straight Banana saying, nice, you got through the first arc. Time to watch the series now. And yes, to talk about the anime, I'm really, really hoping the anime is going to be great. And that the anime can bring more people to the series, because this series deserves to be big. It deserves to be famous. It deserves all the love and attention. I said on Twitter recently, I think it was to Andrea, I said on Twitter that this is one of my favorite manga already. It's now up there with Boku no Hero Academia and with Elf-sama Yasuraru and I. So this is one of my favorite manga now. And I'm only 40 chapters in. I still have, or 41 chapters in. I still have over 60 chapters left before I catch up. And since chapters are going to be coming out as I'm catching up, even more than that. So I'm just so hyped through the roof for The Promised Neverland right now. But that's it for this section, and I do hope you enjoyed the bit of discussion we had. Next up, we've got a Magical Girl Racing Project, or Mao Shoujo Week's Haku section, and yeah, quite a few things to discuss. So a good few comments. So one thing is that I had multiple people comment and say, like 2-3 weeks ago maybe, that the latter half of Limited's a roller coaster, and now that I am halfway through chapter 11, of course it's true. I really love this arc. It started off way slower than other arcs, and in general it's way different than other arcs, but I think that's a good thing, that each arc is very different and distinct. Limited is very different from the other two. Restart is incredibly different from the other two. Unmarked, the original, is very different from the arcs that came after it. So I like that. Each of the arcs is very distinct and different. And yeah, Limited, the second half has been so good. I'm excited for this last chapter and a half I have to read, and then to move on to the next volume. And speaking of the next volume, the next two comments I threw in here, where I had two people comment basically the same thing. Thirsty Boy said, the next one for MGRP is Jokers, and that's one of my favorites, along with, of course, Restart, because the characters there are great. Looking forward to you reading that one. And Anime Lover 22 full said basically the same. I can't wait for your read-through on Jokers, aka my favorite arc, and where the stories come closely in full circle. So I'm excited for that coming up next, since it is so many people's favorites, and it's being put up there with Restart, which is my favorite. So I'm very excited to get to that. And also, I mentioned it on Discord earlier, if the character pages, and I'll probably message Platt about it sometime. I feel so bad though, messaging people just to ask them for something, but I'll probably message Platt later too, to be like, if it doesn't spoil who survives in this arc, just go ahead and give me the character designs without the translation for next arc. So if any of you want to do that, you can as well. Link me the character designs without the translation so that I won't be spoiled on what their names or powers are. And I'll use those for my reaction, because my reaction to the next arc's characters are coming in just a few short weeks. We only have 3 weeks left to read this, well, this coming week, and then 2 after that. And then I'll be doing my updated favorite characters video, and then I'll be doing that reaction video to the new character designs. So I am very, very excited to go ahead and get into the next one, but right now I'm having trouble even thinking about that because I'm excited to see how this one's going to end. The next up, Thirsty Boy, we had 2 more from him actually. Thirsty Boy said, hell, Ripple and Snow White have had sad backstories and they never jumped off the deep end, so I get you. Rainbow gets no sympathy from me, and yep, those are my thoughts on Rainbow. Like, most of the characters in the series have had, well, sad backstories of varying sadness. Some are like super bad and some are not that bad, but we've had a lot of bad backstories, and that doesn't make them into sociopathic murderers like Rainbow. Rainbow took things very, very far. And then Thirsty Boy also said, I freaking love every chapter Pukin is in. She's so insane and fun, and I really like the allusion to the hands controlling the situation from the back end. Are these mysterious calls from different people and organizations? Are they from the same person? Is it someone we know? Real fascinating stuff that keeps you guessing. Looking forward to the next part. Thank you so much. I'm excited to continue reading, of course. And it's going to be so good to learn more in the future about the world building of all this and all these different organizations. We have whoever the boss is of, well, okay, we know that Nanako-san's boss is obviously Flea. She took her goggles, had them improved, so it's obvious that she's Flea, and from the way she talks and stuff, she's Flea. She took the goggles, she had them improved by Shadow Gale, and she brought them back to her. So that one's kind of obvious. But it also seems, I'm pretty sure her boss is different from Hana and Mana's boss, who is also different from Malpom's boss, because Malpom's with the Foreign Affairs Division, the other 2 were with the Investigation Division or something like that, and pretty sure Nanako-san is with the Human Resources Division. So they're all 3 different sections. And then we have the boss of Top Pop, maybe? I don't know. Did Top Pop had a boss, didn't she? Oh yeah, because Pithy just got the call, right? Saying that she was the benefactor. That might be a lie, though. Top Pup might have been the rebellion leader, and maybe Flea is actually just trying to deceive Pithy in order to help Nanako-san here. That could be what's happening. I could see that. And then I do not think everybody's behind the same thing, because Flea is definitely not the one that is Rainbow's boss, or Rainbow's, yeah, boss would be the right term. It's whoever's hiring her to kill people. So definitely wouldn't be that one, because Flea is not busting out the nyans on us. She is not talking with a nya. I do not see that one happening. So yeah, I guess that would be it for thoughts on that. So hope you enjoyed the Magical Girl Raising Project section, and yeah, next up is the last one with Tower of God. Okay, now last up we have the Tower of God section, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is like 3 full pages of notes, so it's a bit more crazy than what I thought I was gonna end up with. I tried to I tried to even limit myself a little bit on what I did or didn't put in the video. But yeah, as long as I think comment's worth talking about or discussing the subject, then it's going to be in here, so expect long sections like this, I guess. But I'm sure you guys like having a good 30-minute or so discussion in addition to the, well, 20 to 30 minutes is probably a good discussion for Tower of God for the HaQ&A. So basically every week you're getting an extra 20-30 minutes of discussion on top of the live reaction and the review, and it makes me feel a little less bad about doing like separate kind of discussion or theory videos, because I feel like this is more in depth usually, and it's kind of better because I feel like there are so many different topics that people are like, hey, maybe make a video on this topic, and it's kind of like either A, I've already done the topic, or B, the topic is something where like I would just talk about it for like 2 minutes and be done. But with this, we can get to a bunch of different ones, and it's the exact specific ones you guys want to see or have discussed from the comments. So it's a bit better this way, I think. But either way, if I do think of something to do a separate discussion or a theory on, though, I still totally will make that video. It's just that it's different from when I first started YouTube and I had all these ideas that I hadn't talked about before. And now it's mostly like if I have an idea, whether it's in a live reaction or review, or whether it's in the HaQ&A, or whether it's in its own separate video, if I have an idea, I likely have talked about it with you somewhere. But either way, let's start off with Akash Panda, who said, who quoted me in one of my videos, sorry it's a day late, but of course it is, LMFAO, I almost said LMFAO, LMFAO, don't give up, Haku, you'll meet your schedule someday. I think the item that Andrasi gave Miseng was the clicker that shows one's Shinsu quality and shape. You can see it in the panel where Miseng was training. I'm curious about what her quality would be, and I like this a lot, because I've been saying before, I just want more development for these side characters, and it's really, really cool that Miseng is going to be getting new powers. We're going to see what Miseng's quality is and everything. So I'm excited for upgraded, bigger, badder Miseng. So I'm excited for that. Coolfood270 said, sorry to bring this old topic back, but I think Arlen's Shinsu might be rainbow. I originally thought she's colorless since Bomb used black and colorless Shinsu, but I discovered that when Bomb learned new skills, he learned their colors as well. We've seen blue, red from Ha, and purple from Daniel so far, and I'm late on answering this, but Arlen's totally colorless. Like, Arlen's one of the very few I'm pretty sure on the color for, because Bomb in his post-Rice Pot true self form that's using his true self's power uses black and colorless Shinsu. So I would say black is V and colorless is Arlen, because the Black March and the colorless December seem like the 13 months meant to represent them, because and there's even more connection there where the Black March got an early connection to Bomb, and the colorless December has a connection between Arlen and Eurasia Enzahard. So there are these connections that I think they're the 13 months meant to represent them, and it makes sense that those are the colors since now Bomb is using black and colorless Shinsu for his true self. And also because Bomb using any color other than his true self colors has an explanation. When he used blue Shinsu, blue seems to be the default. It seems like most people just use blue as just a plain default Shinsu color. Bomb only has ever used red when he's been using the Thorn, so it seems like the Thorn is what makes him use red Shinsu. And also he's only used purple when using the living Shinsu of Souls. So it's one of those things where his true Shinsu has been one color, but all the Shinsu that he's used that's other colors have all been because of other people. And another way that I could put it is like, there's a difference between Bomb using his own Shinsu and using Shinsu he copied. Like, if he copies Novik, which he has, and uses a red attack, it doesn't mean that Bomb's Shinsu is necessarily red, he's just copying Novik's Shinsu, which is red. So, yeah, that's why I would say Bomb's totally not rainbow, and I think when they mean rainbow, I don't think they mean can use a bunch of different colors. I think there's gonna be somebody out there who has, like, maybe Tupuri or something, who uses, like, legitimately rainbow Shinsu. Something like that. Sorry, my nose itches really friggin' bad. Sorry about that. But Slayer nominee now has kind of a long comment. This is probably the longest one I put in here, and I separated it into 4 sections. The first section, during the Floor of Death, we were given information to guides either being red witches or silver dwarves. Now we're being given more information. Red witches can see fate and silver dwarves can see crossroads, and I think there's a distinct difference. Fate could be understood as events that are unavoidable. She sees that there's a fight on the horizon, but she doesn't know the outcome. So Warian gathers Bomb and the other two to talk about what they're going to do for the best chance of survival. Silver Dwarves, on the other hand, see the possibilities of events that are happening currently. Like when Bomb was about to fight the Steel Eel on the first floor, Evan knew the only way for Bomb to win was to charge at the eel with the Black March. This brings something else to mind, with Rachel using Emily to influence the paths that Warrion could see. Rachel said to Warrion that she was no threat because she had Emily. So does using Emily to create false information create false paths or fate? I think that's an interesting question, and why Warrion can now see and why can Warrion now see paths after the hidden floor? Why is she able to now? Okay, sorry, scrolling down on my notes here. I think what Rachel meant, though, when she said that Warrion being Bomb's guide isn't a threat to her, I don't think it's because she's using Emily to make fake paths, really. I think it's more like she's saying Warrion being Bomb's guide isn't a threat to her because she has her own guide in Emily, because Emily's kind of like an artificial guide. She can use Emily as just this collection, this amalgam of information from people all over the tower. And she's kind of saying, I have this fancy toy that's a better guide than you. And I also think that it was one of the train's rules that blocked Warrion from seeing the paths. I think that's the deal. So now that the rules are gone, that's why she can see them, because Bomb just F's up all the rules. Then the next part of the comment, Slayer nominee said, I think we knew that White would resurrect sooner or later because the Hell Train was coming to an end, but this is an interesting twist with Albelda going to Joaquin in order to protect Bomb. She came to him with the conditions and he accepted them, but who knows if she'll be able to influence him afterwards. Joaquin was the one who made the deal with the demon to be the center of the spell. She might be stronger, but we'll see. I think he'll return to FUG and escape being bound to the train. I really like how the story's pushing with Yuri and Evan against the Zahard Empire. It's been a growing conflict since the first season, with Yuri and Evan stopping Lopo Biaren, a red assassin, from killing Anak. She's now going against the 4th Squadron of Zahard's Empire, led by Calavan. This is a much bigger fight, and I think it's really going to test her loyalties. She'll probably side with Bomb, but that might have consequences for her. Basically, no real deep thoughts on all that, other than, yeah, I totally agree. I think Yuri's going to have to side with Bomb, and probably sooner rather than later. Of course, Siu could always kind of draw it out a little bit, though, and do something where he gets more into the politics of the Zahard Empire with Yuri's story, while Bomb has his own story going on, and that could be a way that he develops things. So, it might not be sooner rather than later, but it could be. The next part, Slayer nominee said, wait, hold on, it's Slayer nominee. Okay, said, I think Siu will have Lee Seong go against her father's wishes and help the regulars get off the train. She'll do it because it's the right thing, and that'll set up Bomb and the rest of his group going against Zahard's regulars, which will then set the rankers on the train going up against the 4th Squadron. And yeah, again, totally agree. I think that Lee Seong's going to help Bomb's group, but there could be a lot of variation in how much could happen. She could just say, do something simple like opening the gates for them or helping them from one place to another. She could do something that simple, or she could even like fully join Bomb's group to go on to future floors and stuff. Like when Haku first joined, I don't think we really knew he was going to be this close to Bomb, but Haku and Bomb are awesome together. Friggin' love Haku, he's one of my favorite characters now. And then the last section, could the two robed figures be Horyang and Kasano? It'd be awesome if it turned out that way, but wouldn't it take a long time for Horyang to make it to the 43rd floor? That's always difficult to say. He hasn't passed the test, unlike Kasano, but maybe Siu will have a ride around for that. Like Kasano being able to store Horyang in the Shinsu Ball. So, with that, I don't think so, because it seems like the robed figures, one looked a lot bigger than the other, so I think there may be a difference in size that's too large for it to be Horyang and Kasano, because Kasano is kind of like normal sized for a bigger guy. He's like, Novik's a bigger guy, but he's not like huge or anything. He's like Novik sized, really, Kasano. And then Horyang is like massive. Horyang's an absolute unit. So I think there might be too big of a size difference for it to be them, though. There's not that big of a size difference. What I think is more likely, though, is it could be Angel and Elliot, or it could be Daniel and Akka. I think it'd be awesome if it was Daniel and Akka, and they joined back up with Boro and Sachi to be part of Bomb's team. I'd love if it was Daniel and Akka, because Akka has a cool ability, Daniel has a cool ability. It'd be nice to see them all together again. Or it could actually, I just thought of this while I was taking the notes and reading your comment earlier, it could actually be Horyang and Goseng. So maybe it's not Horyang and Kasano, but it could be Horyang and Goseng. We haven't seen Goseng in so long. We haven't even really thought about her since she's, just not as cool as Horyang. But either way, I'm excited to see Horyang when he does come back, though. I friggin' loved his character so much. But yeah, he was out of the picture before I started YouTube, so you all didn't really get to see how much I loved his character. He and Ackraptor were they were my favorites so much through the lead up to Workshop Battle and Workshop Battle. And then now look, one of them's gone, one of them's dead. Friggin' sucks. So next up, Dr. Bonehead. This is actually a really cool thing I wanted to talk about. Dr. Bonehead said, the surnames thing has always been super confusing for me, especially with making choices for the dub. By the way, I'm throwing this in there. If you guys haven't seen the Tower of God dub, I don't know. It's not like watching dubs of comics and stuff isn't really my thing personally, but this is really good for Tower of God and for the fandom and everything. So if you're into that kind of thing, go watch the dub for the comic. I know that Dr. Bonehead and a bunch of others work really hard on it. So, yeah, definitely go watch that if that's the thing you're interested in. I know I've said that before as well, but I'll say it again. Go watch that. But either way, what they're saying, the surnames thing's always been super confusing, especially making choices for the dub. I usually go with whatever line says, but it depends on the family for the translation. Line typically says Jinsung Ha and Yura Ha, so I'm assuming that for the Ha family, they put it last for whatever reason. Same with Hansung Yu, and as you said, also Yiwa Yeon, for whatever reason. Also Chunhwa Hong and Danhwa Hong, and probably others. It's super interesting, even though they should all technically come first. And yeah, what I originally said to that is, I think what's confusing is how they're inconsistent. That's the biggest thing to say with it, is that it's inconsistency. But I'll talk more, but let me get through most of what I was saying there, because that'll help me remember everything. But yeah, the confusing part is how it's inconsistent, and it makes me wonder if the family names being first or last depends on the character and the source material. Because with the company translation, they always put family names first, with only a few the only exception I can remember was Quant Blitz instead of Blitz Quant. And then Quattro Blitz with Line, they kept that the same. And with Line, they change a lot to put the family name last, but some of them still have the family name first. Like, I don't remember seeing anyone, I don't think I've ever seen him called Agaro Agnes Kun, or Ron Kun, or Edwan Kun. I've never seen that. It's always been Kun Edwan, Kun Ron, Kun Agaro Agnes. So, yeah, they put that one first in the REA family. He was never called Joaquin REA or Hone REA or anything. It's always been like REA Hone. And REA Inietta. It wasn't Inietta REA, I don't think. That's how they translated it. And as for Han Yeon, I think even in Line we've seen it both ways before. I think we've seen Ha Yura and Yura Ha. I think we've seen same with Ha Yuri Zahard. Yeah, it's typically been Ha Yuri Zahard every time, hasn't it? Ha's never come after Yuri, I don't think. Then Yeon the same way. I've seen both Yeon Yiwa and Yiwa Yeon. I think typically, with the way that the names function and with a lot of them taking a lot from Korean cadence, of course, I think personally it makes a lot more sense for the surname to come first. Well, same with Lopobia. I've always seen Lopobia come first. So yeah, I'm not sure. there are different options here. The translators could be making a mistake, I don't know. They could be directly, literally translating it, and some of the characters have their surname first, some of them have it last. Or Line could just be making a conscious choice to move the surnames to the end. But yeah, from the inside, I don't know, but from the outside as a reader, it seems really inconsistent. And I don't say this to want to shit on Line. I kind of almost wish that the Line translators were, like, I don't know, I've never seen anybody claiming to be a Line translator ever post on Reddit to talk about it. I've never seen them post on any discussion boards or anything to talk about it. So as far as I know, we just don't really know what's going on. But I'd like if there was somebody, like how I have Plaid I could talk to if I was wondering what was up with any of the translations on Magical Girl Raising Project. I just kind of wish there was somebody that fans had that maybe said something once in a while, or like if Line had a place, like a translation blog every once in a while, where they would just say, oh, this is why we translated this and this, or do a Q&A or something like that, or an Ask Me Anything or whatever, where they would just explain things, because from the outside it seems inconsistent, but maybe there is a reason that they put certain names in certain places. But just for me, I think with the way that the Korean is with a lot of their names, to me it sounds better and it feels more right to put the surname first. It feels a lot better to say Ha Yura or Ha Cheonhee than to say Cheonhee Ha or Yura Ha. It feels a lot better to say Kun Masheni Zahard or Ha Yuri Zahard, Eurasia N Zahard. So for those, it makes a lot of sense. There are only a few exceptions to that. Lopa Biren, there are only a few. Yuan Sung to me sounds better. There are only a few exceptions, being the Blitz family. Quant Blitz and Quattro Blitz is a lot easier to say than Blitz Quant and Blitz Quattro, though I think I could still get used to that. So it's interesting, and Hong Danhwa, Hong Chunhwa sounds a lot better to me than Chunhwa Hong and Danhwa Hong. I just personally think it sounds better and flows better for them to do the surname first. But that's just where I am personally. So I don't know. It could be a mistake, it could be a direct literal translation, they could be just purposefully trying to localize it by putting first names or given names first and surnames last. So I don't know what they're doing, but it is an interesting topic of conversation. And I kind of wish that we could just, I don't know. See, I never want to shit on the Line translation, even though some weeks it is pretty unreliable, and they do make some pretty big mistakes sometimes. But I think it would be a lot better if maybe, I don't know, they were just more open, I guess, and discussed things with the fans more. Because, like, it'd be different if, it'd be different if we could know that the person translating it was a fan of it, and this is what they think about this and this. That could be a lot better for the community, just knowing, hey, this person is a fan. Though it could also be less good for that person, because anytime they made a mistake, it'll happen that some jerks would bother them and harass them. So that would suck. But I'm sure they would have most of the community around this series that would stick up for them. Then CWW, to move on abruptly, says, among the 10 great family heads, the one we need to learn about is Ari Han, not to be confused with Arie Hone. He's a family head and he's ranked so low. The actual number hasn't been stated, but he's not even in the top 100. It's odd. Okay, I didn't fact check him on this. I don't think we have any idea where Ari Han is, so to say he's not in the top 100, I don't know if that's true whatsoever. But the point is, yeah, basically it's weird that we haven't really seen or heard anything about Ari Han, or even other members of that family. Do we even know anyone from the Ari family? It's like with Tupuri Tupuri. Repalista might be from that family, but that's just a theory. That's just a theory, a dog theory. Sorry. But we don't know anything about them, really. And you compare all these families, like the Tupuri family, the Ari family, to other families where the Arie family, we have seen a ton of them. We have Joaquin and all of his siblings. We have Inieto. We've seen Hone already in flashbacks. We have information on characters like Horn and Hageferion. So it's like one of the, in the Kun family especially, look at all the characters we know from the Kun family, the Ha family, all the ones we know from them. Eurasia, especially the Funsical branch of the Eurasia family, we know so many. The Lopobia family, we know a bunch. Compare all those to families like Ari and Tupari Tupari, and we know nothing. We know nothing about we know barely anything about the family heads. We know barely anything about the families, and I don't think there are any members of those families that we know like at all. So it's very weird that some families have been so developed and so entrenched in the main story, and that we haven't seen like some families like at all whatsoever. Next up, Slayer nominee said, the diversity and uniqueness of items in Tower of God are amazing. We started with hooks and needles to ignition weapons, and now to utilizing tanks that hold Shinwei. Alphine trapped a bomb and Kun inside of her Shadow Fox's tank. But Dorian's frog tank is a new favorite. This is a little out there, but Dasachi and Levy look somewhat similar. One uses curses and the other uses spells. Possibly brothers? Okay. I love Dorian's tank weapon because not only is the concept cool that it opens up and it's a Shinsu tank, and that entire concept is really awesome, but also it has a cool like warhammer with that handle on the side kind of design in general. And in addition, I think I mentioned in the live reaction when we first saw Levy's design that he looks a lot like Sachi's, but I don't think they're actually related at all. I just think they're both, they both have spiky anime boy designs, like a Square Enix character. They got spiky anime boy designs. So I don't think they're related. They just have similar designs. Alpha Cent 007 says, silly question, but how do people on the Hell Train keep getting clean clothes? And also, all the damage to their clothes from battle are always repaired. Is there a laundry shop and a tailor next to the Guardian's room? And I answered this because I could be wrong. If any of you remember, since a lot of you hopefully will probably be watching this, if any of you remember and can correct me, or if any of you have read through the old blog posts recently, I could be wrong here. But I feel like that was answered in one of the blog posts. For some reason, I think it was around when they first got on the train, and for some reason it's in my head that it's when Ryun was with Rachel's group, but I think the explanation was there was something like rooms with food and clothes and general supplies at different stops along the train, because I totally remember, I don't know if I'm just like making up memories, but I totally remember that being explained, and I think it was in the blog. Because remember we got this explanation about how the train was like and like this explanation ended up not meaning much of anything because we barely ever got to see any of this. But like every night and day the pathways on the train change, and there are the doors with bosses that you defeat to get certain things, and I'm pretty sure at each like certain stops or checkpoints there were rooms with clothes and general supplies and food and all that. So I think it was explained, but we just kind of skipped over most of that mundane stuff when they were traveling through the train. We just skipped it and went station to station. So before I hit the next one, let me get a sip of water really quick. We got Alpha Cent 007 saying, once again, I think CU wants to make this a bit of a running joke with Karaka regarding the situation always ending up with the bad luck, so I think he's drawing a parallel and trying to mirror to Wangnan, who most of the time is out of his depth when facing an enemy, but he's rarely stronger or even as strong as the enemy he faces, but he barely gets out alive. Just a speculation, assuming both Wangnan and Karaka are the children of Zahard, but Karaka and Wangnan might represent Zahard at two different times in his life. Wangnan, who leads and relies on his comrades like a young Zahard that liked to surround himself with friends, whereas Karaka is like a later Zahard in life that basically isolated himself from the tower and sees himself as a powerful entity. I'm not so sure about that last part, but I like the first part where it's drawing similarities, where we've seen Karaka throughout the story always have really bad luck, and we've seen Wangnan always throughout the story always have pretty good luck. I mean, he's gotten pretty beat up a lot of the time, and some of his friends have died, but at the same time, things generally seem to work out pretty okay for him at least. Akash Panda then says, Zahard Army, don't worry about don't worry, the 13-month princesses will protect us. Masheni, LOL. I totally forgot about Masheni with that. But yeah, maybe bowing to the 13-month princesses isn't actually the best idea for Zahard's army when like 2/3 of the 13-month princesses we've seen so far would probably just kill you. Like, who have we seen so far that's a 13-month princess? Is it just Garam, Yuri, and Masheni? And Masheni and Garam would definitely just kill you. I don't know if we could put that past Yuri either, depending on the situation. So yeah, maybe bowing just isn't the best idea. Then Easton Co says, what's up with these frogs being ancient? Not just Pollock, but look at Evan's inventory and his weapons. But going back and really looking, I've seen how strong the heads of the 10 great families and Zahard, they're literally gods. You know how strong we have to get to go beyond ranker level into advanced ranker class? I mean, we've got a long way ahead of us. And yeah, you're right, I didn't even remember Evan having ancient frog stuff too, so it's kind of cool that there's a similarity. And Easton Co continued, I remember all of that because everyone really underestimates Evan. To be honest. Remember, he's top 100 rankers, and it's at Ancient, and I feel like the princess that sealed White away is the Eurasia Princess, or whatever her name is. I don't remember, but the most powerful princess there is. We haven't seen her yet. Sorry. You guys know, hold on. You guys know. Because think, everyone was about to shit themselves when White first stepped out with a lot of his old power. Even the older Ha was nervous, but she's strong as hell. Because even Ha Jinsung was like, that guy's strong and dangerous, and he didn't even get real serious against Masheni. And she wasn't a match scared to meet the top princess. And she wasn't a match scared to meet the top princess. Okay, I get what they're saying though. Yeah, I think though that Arie Hagafarion is probably the one who defeated White, because he was defeated by someone from his own family and also a princess, so that just leaves Arie Horn. Like, it's not going to be Rose, because Rose is still a regular, so that just leaves Arie Horn and Arie Hagafarion, and I doubt it's Arie Horn. So basically, I think it's got to be Hagafarion that was the one that defeated White, unless it's just a character we haven't even heard of. But it's probably her. Also, I get what you're saying, and you're totally right about everybody was like scared of White, and even Jinsung, when he was talking about White being trapped on the train, hyped him up as really, really strong, and Jinsung is one of the top 100 and wasn't even scared with Masheni, and yet is hyping up White. So that kind of shows how strong he actually is if he were at full power, that even someone in the top 100 would be nervous about his strength. Dr. Bonehead then said, is it confirmed that Paracool is Pinnacle, or do you think that CU's just using that as some sort of reference? It'd be fine with him being back. See, I'm honestly not sure with that. Even a few weeks after this happened, and he just commented this last week, but even a few weeks after we first saw Pinnacle, I'm still not honestly sure. Like, at first I didn't think it was Paracool, I just thought it was somebody similar, but it really, I mean, it seems now like maybe it was the same person. I'd be fine with it being the same person too, but I would prefer if Paracool and Pinnacle were just different people, but they're the same race or species or whatever they are, and they just act the same, and it's all just a comedic reference. And then they replied, yeah, I agree. I think that's what it is. It'd be very odd for somebody like Paracool to suddenly be a C-rank regular, and the likes of Bomb and Kun, and beat the likes of Bomb and Kun to this floor. I think CU used the whole revolution thing as more of a reference than anything else, but only time will tell. And yeah, like he said, I think it's basically just a joke character either way. And even if it is Paracool, he probably just stumbled his way up to the position. He was carried there by somebody else, just like what happened when he broke up the Ron and Anak fight. And now that I'm going through this was only a week ago. I couldn't have discussed this in last HaQ&A, could I? I feel like I discussed this already. So it's weird. It's weird that I feel like I have discussed this. but I couldn't have in the last HaQ&A, could I? Weird. It's weird that I feel like I've discussed that. And next up is, hold on, how am I at the last one already? There is no way I have read through 3 pages worth of notes already. Maybe I have just really lost track of time talking about all this stuff. Yeah, it looks like I've got to everything. Got to the big long comment there? Yeah. Wow. So yeah, we're on the last comment. Okay, last up for this week's HaQ&A is Akash Panda, who said, aren't the Zahard Royal Guards also taught REA swordsmanship? That would mean it's not as rare to run into REA swordsmanship as we think. It would still be super, super rare. I'm assuming there's not that many Zahard Royal Guards. And in addition to that, they said that it's super, super rare to run into the main line because there's not many of them. So yeah, I think in general it's really rare. But the way I understand it is because they said that a person who's not an REA can use REA swordsmanship, but they can't really use it. So it's kind of vague, but the best way that I can think of to try to understand it or explain it is I think that the Royal Guards are taught it, but that it's just kind of a fighting style for them. They can't use like the abilities or the powers from it. It's just a really useful style of sword fighting for them. It's not like actually being able to make Shinsu come from various directions and stuff. I think that's the power of it that comes from being used by an REA bloodline user. So I think they're taught it, but they can't really use the abilities. They can just use the techniques, so to speak. But yeah, that is it for this week's HaQ&A. Wow, I'm really surprised I got through those 3 that quickly. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really, really do. And there's a lot that you can comment about. If you want to talk about anything for the next HaQ&A or discuss anything, any topics you want me to get to, you can comment them down there, or comment like anything generally. Just talk. I don't know. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe for more of everything I talked about here and much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to talk to you there too, or I can keep you updated there and stuff for the channels, which is kind of the more important thing I do on Twitter. But not talking to all of you is important too. It's just that I don't do it as much maybe as I do keeping you updated. Either way, and you can also talk to me and more of us on Discord. I usually don't use Discord for updates as much because I kind of forget to. Updates are usually more on Twitter, and Discord is usually more me just talking to you all. But yeah, if you want a link to the Discord server, it's freedom for anyone, and we can all talk there too. So that's it, and I think that's all I have to say. So thank you once again for watching, sincerely, and I'll see you all next time.